Imagine this: you walk into a crowded cafe. Around you, people are buried in screens, anxiously refreshing feeds for that next hit of approval. Some pose for photos they'll never look at again. Others gossip, laugh a little too loud, or scroll endlessly through dating apps as if swiping is a form of existence. But you just sit there, headphones in, not to block out the world, but to listen to something deeper, perhaps a philosophy audiobook, or simply your own thoughts. And instantly, you become the strangest person in the room. What is it about being content in your own presence that disturbs people so much? Why is solitude, the simple act of being with yourself, regarded with suspicion, even fear? What if I told you that your ability to sit alone, truly alone, is the single greatest threat to the world as it is? Today, we're going to dive into the existential abyss that most people spend their lives avoiding. We'll expose the cultural lie about loneliness, unmask the mechanics of psychological dependence, and explore how thinkers like Schopenhauer and Nietzsche not only understood the value of solitude, but made it their personal rebellion. But this isn't a manifesto for isolation, it's an invitation. What you're about to discover can transform the way you see yourself and the world that's built to keep you dependent, ready to walk the path that few dare to tread. Let's start with the most uncomfortable truth. Society hides. Nearly every system you encounter, from advertising to social media to workplace culture, depends on your neediness. We are conditioned from birth to believe that alone is broken. Watch any commercial, any dating app pitch, any community building initiative, they all whisper the same thing. You are not enough. You need others. You need to belong, or you'll be left behind. But ask yourself, who benefits from this belief? Who profits when you are convinced you are incomplete on your own? Is it really for your well-being, or is it for control? Here's what most people never question. When you become comfortable in solitude, you start to see the world's machinery for what it is, a web of distraction and manipulation, woven from your fear of being alone. So, what does this mean for you? If you can sit alone and feel whole, you are unbuyable, unmanipulable, unpredictable. The systems that rely on your insecurity lose their grip. Reflect. When was the last time you sat alone, without a phone, without music, just yourself? Did you feel peace, or did discomfort rise up like a wave? Who taught you that this discomfort was a flaw, not a signal? Let's go deeper. Why is the self-sufficient person so unsettling? Because they don't play the same game. Most people are caught in an endless loop: approval, rejection, longing, avoidance. We scroll, like, swipe, and perform for invisible audiences, desperate for validation. But the person at peace in solitude has walked through that fire. They've met their demons in the night. They've had the honest conversations with their shadow, the hidden fears, failures, and longings. And instead of running, they made peace with the silence. This psychological self-sufficiency is dangerous not to you, but to any system built on obedience and conformity. When you no longer need permission to exist, when you're not addicted to the currency of likes, when you can bear your own company, you cannot be controlled by shame, exclusion, or the threat of loneliness. The less you need from others, the less power the world has over you. So what can you do? Begin by breaking the cycle of approval addiction. Notice when you reach for your phone just to fill silence. Ask yourself, what am I running from in this quiet? The next time discomfort arises, let it speak. What is it telling you about your real desires, fears, or wounds? What did the ancients know that we've forgotten? Arthur Schopenhauer, the philosophical pessimist, lived most of his life in self-chosen isolation. He believed that the world was driven by an endless, often cruel will, and that only those who could step outside the herd and observe their own motives with brutal honesty could ever attain true clarity. Schopenhauer practiced radical self-reflection, stripping away illusions not for comfort, but for freedom. He saw solitude not as a curse, but as the only true space where a person could wrestle with their own nature and emerge stronger. Nietzsche took it further. He saw that the individual has always had to struggle not to be overwhelmed by the tribe. He warned that most people live by values they never chose, trapped in inherited beliefs and mass opinion. True solitude, for Nietzsche, was the crucible in which a person forges their own morality, a personal code, unshakable by external pressure. Ask yourself, whose rules are you following? Who benefits from your obedience? What would you believe if you started from scratch? To adopt these tools is to reclaim authorship over your life. It's to dare, every day, to ask what part of me belongs to others and what is truly mine. After examining the lessons of these thinkers and the experience of modern psychology, the dangerous loner's power rests on 4 pillars. Radical self-honesty, the willingness to confront your true motives, fears, and desires without flinching or sugarcoating. When you can no longer lie to yourself, you become immune to the lies of others. Value independence, building your morality not from habit or social pressure, but from your own reasoning and experience. This doesn't mean rejecting all norms, but refusing to inherit beliefs without examination. Emotional self-sufficiency. Learning to regulate your own emotions, to be your own source of comfort and strength, so that you're no longer held hostage by the moods or opinions of others. Intellectual courage, the bravery to think thoughts others won't, to question dogmas, to follow evidence even when it's uncomfortable, to speak truths that cost you popularity. Take away for your journey. Choose one pillar to practice this week. For example, spend an evening in radical self-honesty journal about the masks you wear, the roles you play, and what you fear if you drop them. Let's be real. This path is not easy. The cost of genuine independence can be high. Friends may drift away. Family may not understand. Society will pressure you subtly or overtly to come back to the herd. There will be moments of isolation. You may feel like you're walking through a city of sleepwalkers, awake and alone. But the price of conformity is far greater. It is the slow death of your soul. You'll see it everywhere: the endless consumption, the anxious pursuit of status, the desperate need to fit in. These are symptoms of a deeper illness, the refusal to meet yourself, alone and unadorned. The person who can do this, who can face the abyss and not flinch, is free in a way most people will never understand. Why does this matter? Because self-sufficiency is not selfishness. It's the ground from which true relationships, meaningful work, and genuine joy arise. Only when you no longer need others to complete you can you choose to love, to create, to contribute from a place of fullness. Society confuses solitude with lack, but solitude is not emptiness, it's wholeness. It's the ability to feel complete in your own presence, to find peace in silence, to enjoy your own company. Loneliness, on the other hand, is a hunger, a desperate grasping for something to fill an inner void. And the marketplace loves loneliness. It sells you products, distractions, and illusions. all promising to fix what was never broken. Reflection. Notice the next time you feel lonely, are you really lacking, or are you just unpracticed at being with yourself? What might happen if, instead of filling the void, you listened to it? Begin small. Set aside 10 minutes a day for undistracted solitude. No phone, no music, just you and your mind. Evening review. Try the Schopenhauerian exercise of nightly self-examination. Ask yourself, what desires gripped me today that brought only suffering? Where did I chase after approval? And what illusions am I ready to shed tomorrow? Or echo Nietzsche, ask, in what moments today did I truly act from my own will? And where did I betray myself for the comfort of the crowd? Question your beliefs. Challenge your assumptions. Why do you believe what you believe? Who handed you your values? Are they yours? Create rituals of self-connection. Walk alone. Write, think. Make solitude a practice, not a punishment. Resist the lure of validation. When tempted to share for approval, pause. Can you validate yourself just for today? So what does this mean for your life right now? It means every moment of intentional solitude is an act of rebellion and an act of creation. You are not withdrawing from the world. You are building the foundation for a self that cannot be bought, silenced, or led astray. Here's the irony. The more at peace you are alone, the more magnetic you become. Not because you're performing, but because you radiate an energy of wholeness. People are drawn to those who do not need them, but who choose them. Relationships become richer. Friendships deepen. Work becomes meaningful. Life finally becomes yours. Contemplate. What would it feel like to choose connection from freedom, not fear? How might your presence change if you no longer needed approval, but simply enjoyed sharing yourself? In a world that feeds on insecurity, your wholeness is an act of defiance. Let's recap. You've learned that society profits from your neediness, and that solitude is not loneliness, it is power. You've seen, through Schopenhauer and Nietzsche, that self-sufficiency is the foundation of freedom. You've examined the 4 pillars of dangerous solitude: self-honesty, value independence, emotional self-sufficiency, and intellectual courage. You've faced the truth. The price of self-sufficiency can be isolation, but the reward is authenticity and inner strength. So here is your invitation. Become dangerous not to others, but to the systems that thrive on your dependency. Choose to build a self so solid, so honest, so free, that nothing and no one can define you without your consent. If this message struck a chord, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below. What belief have you been carrying that you never chose for yourself? Where have you traded your self-respect for external validation? And remember, in a world desperate for conformity, the most radical act is to learn to stand alone. Stay dangerous and stay free. You are your own greatest power. Before you go, I challenge you to take a single radical step. Spend an hour this week alone with your thoughts. No distractions, just you, a journal, and the unfiltered truth. Then share in the comments. What did you discover hiding in your silence? What chains did you notice, and what new freedom can you claim? If this message shook something inside you, share this video with someone who needs the permission to walk their own path. Join the conversation. Subscribe to MindMirror, and let's build a community of those daring enough to face the void and come back with light. The ideas explored in this video are for philosophical and psychological exploration and are not intended as professional advice. Viewers are encouraged to engage in their own critical thinking and further research, and to consult with qualified professionals for personal concerns.